Hi, welcome to Lilybugs Library, or welcome back. My name is Linda. So today we're doing Friday Reads, and I think this is my fourth or fifth take. I was having problems with my audio, so maybe I've got it fixed. I'm hoping so. So we'll go ahead and see how it goes. So I've read about four books this week. Two I listened to, two I read. So the first one that I listened to was The Violin Conspiracy. And this one was excellent. It was about a black violinist who is kind of starts out with him being younger and getting a violin and kind of really realizing this is his passion. And then what he goes through as he gets older and starts to do concerts and things like that. And then in the midst of all this, his violin gets stolen. So there's also the mystery of what happened to the violin. It was an excellent story. The characters were great, particularly the main character. He was, really had a lot of depth to him, and I found it was really good. What I didn't like, and it's not it was meant to be this way, and it is important to the story. It just hurt my heart. His family was awful. I mean, there was like one or two good ones, but you know, most of them were just so terrible to this boy. And even as he became a man, like they were interested in what he could do for them, the money he could bring in and things. And even his mother was just horrible. And then also the racism that he went through and the different things he had to learn to be able to cope with all of that. So really showed a lot of growth and progression in his character. But yeah, like I said, at times I had to stop it occasionally, and it was like I got so upset at some of these characters for the way they were treating him. So excellent story. I tend to listen to the audiobooks at two or two and a half times the speed. Um, it really doesn't bother me to do that. And I just, I don't know, I'm just used to it, I guess. But I had to keep slowing it down because if they would play a piece of the violin music, you want to be able to hear that at the normal speed, or else it just doesn't sound right. So I would give that book a 5 out of 5. So the next one I read was Clammed Up by Barbara Ross, and that one is the first in the main clam bake mysteries, I think they're called. And so this one was good. It was about this woman who comes back to save her family's business because it's going to go under, and she doesn't have much time to do it, and the bank is really on her back. And then when she goes to host a wedding, it turns out the best man is found hanging from the rafters. And so it's trying to wrap her head around all of this and figure out who it was that killed him and get things back on track before she loses the business. So really like the characters. A lot of red herrings and things. So like you think you know who did it, and you really don't because you're all over the place. So really enjoyed that, and the whole area was definitely a cozy small town. There was a guy who runs the restaurant or the diner. His name is Gus, and I just thought he was the sweetest character. He's kind of a bit of a curmudgeon, but he really cares about the people of the town. And I don't know. I just something about him. He really grabbed me, and he's kind of not really a minor character, but sort of. But I thought he was terrific. And there's one little part where he has all these different rules for his diner, right? And one of the things is he does not serve appetizers because you don't need to have food while you're waiting for your food. And I thought, oh, that's cute. I like it. So yeah, that was good. And um, it takes place in Maine, which is in some ways quite similar to Nova Scotia, so it kind of felt very familiar. And there's some good recipes in it for, chowders and desserts and things. So really enjoyed it. I would give that one 4 out of 5. So the next one I read was not really on my radar to read, but I saw it on Hoopla, which is another library app, and I thought, oh, I'll give it a try. It was called Dastardly Deeds at St. Bride's, and it's a cozy mystery about this all-girls school. And the main character, Gemma, comes to work at the school as an English teacher, and she's never actually taught English before, although she does have a degree to teach it. And she goes there mainly because her boyfriend was abusive and she's trying to get away from him and hide someplace he's not going to find her. So she decides to join this girls' school. What makes the girls' school a little quirky is there are men working there, but they actually dress up like women when any of the parents are around so that the parents don't realize there's anyone there that's a man. So a little weird, but like just not really the way you'd think of running a school. So yeah, interesting. So it was decent. I probably would read one more just to see if I connect with it more. I did find, at least in this first one, that there were so many characters and so much going on, that I didn't really feel a connection to any of them. And then to top it off, most of it took place in the school, so you didn't really get much of the town or any of that. Um, it just, a few things about it I was not really crazy about, but like I said, I might give it one more chance just to see if maybe it was because it was the very first one. So I would give it 3 out of 5. And then the last thing that I finished just now, was for my virtual book club. And this one was called The Language of Flowers by Vanessa, I think it's Diffenbach. And uh, we keep picking these books for book club that look like they're going to be happy and shiny, and generally they're not. So you can't judge a book by its cover, really. But anyway, this one was about a young girl who is in foster care, and it's all about her going from foster home to foster home and then growing up and what it's really done to her, her mental state and how she sees life. And really well done. And I don't know what I would rate it. I would probably rate it, I don't know. I'll think on that one, because I'm not going to tell you too much about it because I haven't done the book club yet. But I will say that it was, although it was a good read, it was a difficult read. Again, it was one of those ones that just reaches in and grabs your heart, and it can be hard to get through at times. But I'll tell you more about that in an upcoming video. Otherwise, we've had a horrific rainstorm here. We had thunder and lightning and rain and wind, and it seems to have settled down now, thankfully. But in the meantime, I had Dudley's little playpen calico thing out on the deck, and we woke up this morning and it was gone. And normally I weight it down, but it's only been out there a few days and I didn't think of it, and so now I don't know where it is. It could be anywhere. We've looked around outside, no sign of it. So hopefully, someone in the neighborhood is enjoying a new calico. Um, and if they are, that's great, and I'll just get another one. But it's one of those things where it's like, oh, that's not what I need at first thing in the morning before my coffee. So, lesson learned. And let's see. I do know it's the start of Big Book Summer, I believe today. So I did have a few picked out. I don't know if I'll get to them all, but I think the one I'm going to start with is called The Last Rose of Shanghai. It really keeps drawing me in every time I kind of pass by it on my Kindle. So I'm going to start with that one. I think it's just over 400 pages. So we'll see how that one goes. And I'll tell you about more of my choices and some other things that I'm going to read for June in another video in a couple of days. In the meantime, I think it's supposed to rain here all weekend. So hopefully where you're at, it's going to be nicer. But here, I think I'll just be curling up with some hot chocolate and a book and, make the best of it. All right. So I hope you have a great day, friends, and a great weekend. Bye-bye.